BCA got recognized before. I sent an email to, I said something to Donna, I didn't send her a chat message. And then I sent an email to Malvern. But look at the website, you got something on it, so does I say yes. Then I should have gone to Triple Crown, but they didn't award me Triple Crown. I sent her all the stuff.
How are you, sir? I'm good, how are you?
What's that?
Yes.
She said, I missed out on several people. Okay.
Hey, Ray. Hey.
Hey, that's all right. Thank you.
Good, how are you?
Doing great. Perfect.
Have you made it official?
Yes.
Awesome. Close that.
So you're the newest member?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
I think
Our condolences with your kid.
I looked up the elevation of the two Golden Springs. South Carolina's higher, about 13 feet.
Yeah, what is high?
The Bowling Springs elevation.
Oh, in South Carolina. Oh, okay, that's good to know.
Yes, they do.
Now you haven't done all of the springs.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Spring.
Huh?
That means that the one in North Carolina.
East Main Street?
Hotter, so you.
Going out in Spain, you know where?
Because you know, they want to put the cake in this. Yeah, because the water balls in the.
Bottom line is before you put the Hillcrest,
If
there's a go over a bridge that's over a stream or river. Just before that bridge, there's a driveway that turns right, that goes up that building.
How you doing, Frey?
And there's a sign there, I think it says 961, which is their address.
Okay.
961 East Main.
You're muted, sir.
No. Well, I started.
I got to go for evaluation.
One to get my business done.
Yeah, I'm sorry that the
Give them their award.
speaker fell out, so we don't need you as an evaluator yet tonight, but we may need you for another role, so we'll see.
Is the schedule updated?
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay, that's a simple trick. In fact, you can have boiling water and ice in the same thing. Yeah. See how much? Yeah. What was your major again?
Communications.
Communications. Oh, okay. And then you can communicate that to the world. So what form of communications, like video, filming, voice, all animation?
Hello, John.
I'm probably gonna be this.
They are a music production primarily.
And then I guess just take whatever avenue.
I'm gonna finish
Not
with
all
somebody
of it.
that CD player.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Fix the
Yeah. Old Pioneer, 6-disc player. They won't move the CDs.
Speaking this.
Have you tried to get your finger on?
Voice over, did you do that too?
Get one of those, they cost about $10.
Yeah.
It looks like a CD,
I like
with a
the
little brush on the bottom of it.
impressions because I have little sisters.
You literally try to play it and
Like
it sleeps off.
Mickey Mouse and stuff.
Oh,
So I watched a lot of the Disney films over.
Well,
and
I have
over,
used
until I got the voices down for
10 years. Thought I'd break it out.
Yeah, that, you know, some of that.
Yeah, I want one to go with that receiver.
I'll probably, I may or may not use them.
Yeah, my receiver.
Room.
But I want to congratulate Spartanburg Toastmasters, LaShane as our president. We had all 7 officers complete training on time. And so for that, we have a nice little award that you aren't here to receive. But good job, and good job to everybody getting their training done. I'll leave this with Mr. Holliday. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job, guys. Teamwork makes the dream work. And one thing I could say about Spartanburg Toastmasters is that we really do embrace our values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence. We take pride in our club And even through the coronavirus pandemic, we have not missed a beat. So you guys are awesome. I've found great friendship in Toastmasters. And it's one thing I noticed is that it's about everyone working together. Moving forward with our meeting, I would like to introduce our Toastmaster of the day. Excited about him, Mr. BURNNIE HOLLIDAY. Take it away.
Thank you, LaShane, and it seems like everyone's going to be sitting on this side of the room today. So I'm going to imagine that all of our virtual participants are sitting on this side today. Well, hey, we might have some people on this side after all. Yay! Hey, Andre, how you doing today? That's great. Am I on mic? Okay, I am. So today I wanted to introduce the meeting theme of pure energy. Me being a Star Trek fan, I thought of pure energy because of the quote of Mr. Spock, pure energy, which has been sampled time and time again for so many techno songs. It's not even funny, but it's awesome and I love it. But one of the things that we have to remember about energy is that energy has to be contributed to. If energy is not contributed to, something else takes over, and that's entropy. Entropy takes away from energy. So if we want to see positive effects in the world, we have to contribute energy towards those positive effects, or they will decline. It's quite that simple. Today, I'm going to have a great meeting. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. And before we get really started, really dig into it, I want to ask our general evaluator, Mr. Alex DAHLSTROM, to introduce his team. Alex?
Thank you, Bernie. And hey, good to see you guys. I couldn't make the drive out there today, but I'm here on a stationary bike and glad to be your general evaluator. So really what I'm doing today is evaluating this meeting as a whole to make sure it runs smoothly and give you the feedback that you need as a whole to make it so today is good, but tomorrow we can be great. So I'm looking at the meeting agenda right now, and the first person I'd like to introduce is our grammarian, Mrs. Cheryl Ledford. Cheryl, you take it away.
Thank you very much, Alex. Fellow Toastmasters, I will be the grammarian this evening, so I will be listening very carefully throughout the meeting for the use of the word of the day, which I've chosen. The word of the day is vigor, V-I-G-O-R. I will, when I finish speaking, I will put it in the chat. Well, I guess that's only for the few of us. But the definition of vigor is effort and enthusiasm, and using it in a sentence. Bernie, our Toastmaster of the day, started off the meeting with vigor. So I will be listening to see how many times you can use vigor throughout the meeting. I will be listening for any crutch words, such as, so those filler words. I will also be listening for other good sentences and interesting words that you all use. So that is my role, and I'll turn it back over the control to you, Alex.
Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate it. Well, I won't speak too long, so you can't count my ums and such ases to give you a vigorous job in terms of counting that. So I'm looking here, and I don't see who the timer is. So whoever's timer, please identify yourself, and I'll turn it over to you.
I will be your timer for tonight. So for the different sections of the speeches, table topics, and evaluations, when you reach your minimal time required, I will turn on the green light. When you get to the halfway point between the min and max time, I'll give you the yellow light. And when you reach the max, I'll give you the red light, and you have a 30-second grace period. Mr. Evaluator.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you for stepping up. Great job. So next we have the vote counter, to which I'm not sure who that is too, because it's not on the website. So yes, whoever is vote counter, I'll let you take the floor.
I will be collecting the votes for each of the different speakers. And that's my job for today. Thank you.
Well done, Andre. You are going to crush it in counting those votes. So now I'm going to hand control back over to our Toastmaster today, Bernie Holiday, to introduce our wonderful speakers this evening. Bernie.
Thank you, Alex, for that wonderful introduction for your team. And I'm sure we're going to have an awesome, awesome meeting today because both of our speakers are presenting from the engaging humor pathway. So it's going to be fun, mandatory fun. To start out with, we have Mr. John Abercrombie. John is presenting from the engaging humor manual speech, as I've previously mentioned, with the introduction to Toastmaster mentoring. John is a chemist, having worked in the nuclear reprocessing and environmental fields. A law enforcement officer and deputy coroner has sometimes been mistaken for a historian. There are times when it's difficult to know whether to laugh or to cry, and he's going to speak to that tonight with America's not-so-secret love affair, Mr. John Abercrombie.
Welcome, fellow Toastmasters. And if anybody is listening from Mars on whatever connection, welcome to our meeting tonight. I am going to talk about America's not-so-secret love affair. Love is what we experience in many different forms. And one of those forms is that which we cherish, which we continue to hold on to, which we continue to hold near and dear to us. America has a love affair with the Confederacy and everything about it. When we look at our history books, we see that in many states, it's spoken of as a war of northern aggression. Yet the South fired the first shots. When we look at it and call it the war between the states, it was not a war between the states, it was a war between two countries. We had America, the United States of America, and we had the Confederate States of America. The Confederate States of America had a president, Jefferson Davis. They had a vice president, and Alexander Stephens. They had a constitution, and they wrote it with the principles that they hold so near and dear to them. Those principles denied a number of people rights and liberties as we saw them in America. So we hold those principles. How dear do we hold them? We recently saw that Colin Powell, 4-star general, the highest rank that can be held during peacetime. Because during war, we have a 5-star general, the general of the armies. But Colin Powell started his career at the College of New York. And when he was in there, he found the ROTC, and that became his passion. That became his love. And we see what he has done throughout his life with that aspect of his life. But when you realize that after he was commissioned, His first commission was to Fort Benning, Georgia. Is that funny? It's funny to me. Why? Because Fort Benning is named after a Confederate States of America general. Colin Powell on the base could not even go into town for a cup of coffee because of the color of his skin. Funny, because despite that, he rose to the highest ranks. He became the first chief of staff, joint chiefs of staff. And what that is the highest military officers we have in the various branches. And he is the chairman, the first Black chairman. He rose to be the Secretary of State. And when you look at the succession of what happens should something happen to the president, it first goes to the vice president, Speaker of the House. And when it comes to the cabinet, the Secretary of State is number one. So he held that position, although we hold these principles so dear. We see them when we look at so many other things that occur in our society. When we look at Plessy v. Ferguson, Homer Plessy was so European looking that they had to ask him if he were Black. He was what is called an octoroon, which is 1/8. 1 out of 8 ancestors at that level was Black. They then determined that separate but equal was a policy. They go around espousing the fact that 1 drop of Black blood makes you Black. The average person, and we have some over average people here, has 94,000 drops of blood. So do you know what that means? In fact, when I look at statistics, 3% of all white people have at least 1% of Black blood in them. That's funny to me, because by their own definition, some of the people espousing these views are on my side because they have more than 1 drop. It's funny, not necessarily roll on the floor funny, but my mind spins around in different concentric circles. And to me, there is humor in that. We see in Brown v. Board that reversed Plessy, that when Brown was decided that is when most or many of the Confederate memorials were erected in the 1950s, after the US government said that we have to be integrated. It was a very bold middle finger salute to everybody. Maybe it's funny, but what I find is that they get great pleasure out of this. And it seems as if the more pleasure they get, the more displeasure I get, which in turn makes them even happier. Now, it's not the words that bother me, the hate, the vile comments, the vitriol that comes from those that disagree with me. No, what it is those people that call me friend have some sympathy for my point of view and remain silent. Mr. Toastmaster.
Mr. Timer, can we have 1 minute on the clock for people to send their constructive feedback to Mr. Abercrombie and his evaluator?
And if you don't have constructive feedback, send something.
The Toastmaster of the day notes that Mr. Abercrombie is willing to accept non-constructive feedback. So break out your best Simon Cowell. One of the things that energy really allows us to have is vigor. Accessing the things you do every day and approaching them with vigor, with energy, informs how the rest of your day will go. And that's not only in the time frame of a single day, that's the time frame of a week, a month. Keep it up, you can go for a year. Is it hard? Absolutely. Question is it worth it? Our second speaker this evening is Mr. BEREKET TOLCHA. For Engaging Humor Pathways Level 2, BEREKET TOLCHA is going to share with us tonight about being a father from 1,000 miles away. With this speech, Am I Missing Out? BEREKET TOLCHA.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Am I missing out? This is the question I kept asking myself recently. As most of you know, I'm a new dad, and I came to the US like about 2 years now. So my baby's a year and a half. These days, I started thinking, am I missing out being a dad? Or am I hurting my daughter by being away? And is it worth it? Because all the things that I'm working for ultimately is going to be, of course, a better experience and money. So is that worth it? Especially for my daughter? Or should I be there for her? But that wasn't the story for today. It has to be humorous, right? So what I'm trying to share is, even though I feel this very depressing moments at times, thanks to technology, I can talk to her almost every day, sometimes twice a day. So I hear her voice. She yells, she's crazy, and I saw her progress every time. So when she's six months, when she's a year, and now she's 1.5. So she's progressing. She can walk now, she can run. So she can pick up things and break down. She's enjoying every part of it, but so am I. I can see her on a video chat. I can hear her voice, but mostly I hear her voice yelling or crying. But I also heard she bites and cries. She's so angry. I don't know, hopefully it will pass. I'm hoping. But hearing all this, sometimes I enjoy it. And hopefully she will be here soon. So I'll have that full experience. But tonight I would like to share with you one moment that makes me laugh. Of all the things that happened, and of all the things, all crazy moments I noticed about her. One time, so usually US and Ethiopia, 7 or 8 hour difference. So when I woke up early in the morning around 5, it's almost midday there. So that's when I made my first call. So one time I heard when I call in the morning, last night she was disturbing me, I can't sleep. So what happened? She said, first she wants to stand up on the kitchen shelf, kitchen table. I was surprised. Why would she do that? But then that wasn't the one that got her mad, because she told me, we did that to her. She put her in the table. But that's not the problem. What was the problem then? Then she told me she wants us to walk on the stove while it's hot, while it's burning. I don't know what to say. I was laughing. She was really mad, but I can't stop laughing about it. That happened a couple of more times. She will tell me something very angry about it. Or she's yelling, she's biting her, she's scratching her. But that makes me laugh. Not because I want her to attack my wife, no. But that's the only experience I can get. And that's the only experience that I can have when she's really emotional. Right? Sometimes she tries to talk to me, but just gibberish words. But these emotions, I can feel them more. I can get more interacted with her. So that's why I'm laughing. But hopefully she will understand. So, am I missing out? Yes, a little. But I don't think. Maybe because I believe most of you are parents, except Randy, probably. So, you know what the parenthood is, more than me. Am I missing out? Don't answer. Thank you. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mr. BEREKET TOLCHA. One more round of applause for BEREKET. Mr. Timer, can we have a timer's report, please? Yes, I'm occupying that 1 minute with other things. A timer's report, yes, please.
We have.
Oh, you're having a cook. I didn't have that microphone on.
For John Abercrombie's speech, we have 7 minutes and 10 seconds. And for Mr. BEREKET TOLCHA's speech, we have 5 minutes and 18 seconds.
And now, if you would, please vote for your best speaker. Of course, we are very, very happy to have both of our speakers with us. We think they're both winners, but it's a fun little contest, competition to keep us all on our edge and keep the energy of what we're doing alive. So once you have voted for your best speaker, I am also very, very happy to bring on Mr. Greg Allen as our table topics master. Greg.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Before I forget, there's my vote, and there's my evaluation. I wanted to play off Bernie's theme tonight, but I just really didn't know where he was going with pure energy, so I had to come up with my own theme for table topics. And my late brother, who passed away about 6 years ago, always talked about defining moments in life. He had always said he was going to sit down and write a book someday and title it Defining Moments. Unfortunately, he didn't reach that point. And so that's kind of my theme for table topics tonight. And so my first question goes to Jamil. Jamil, can you share with us a defining moment in your life and how that moment defined you? Jamil.
Well, as I think about that question, a defining moment in my life that helped define me. So I would consider growing up in a big family. That defined me because you have limited supplies sometimes, depending on, you know, if your family is rich, but my family wasn't. So we didn't have a lot of stuff, but what we did have was I learned to appreciate hand-me-downs. And a lot of people would consider that like, you know, you're wearing somebody else's clothes, but we didn't consider it that because we were just grateful because we weren't able just to go to the store to pick out stuff. So we were happy to get it was new clothes to us. So that defined us, and it allowed us to have access to new clothes that we wouldn't been able to get otherwise because we weren't able to purchase them. So that's one defining moment for me. It's just growing up in a big family, and it just helped me to appreciate the little things.
Thank you, Jamil. That was a great answer. And I grew up in similar circumstances, so I understand hand-me-downs. The unfortunate thing for me, both my brothers are older than I am. And one of my brothers came up during the whole disco Saturday night fever kind of era. And I just thought he was the coolest thing in the world. And I couldn't wait to get his hand-me-downs. And he had the silk shirts that came way down, and the gold chain. The sad thing is, by the time it got to me, that was a little out of style. And so I was kind of laughed at for that. But anyway, so my next question, and keeping with the theme of defining moments, LaShaye, I know that you work with a lot of kids, and you do such great work with kids. How would you help a child create a defining moment in their life that would create a positive impact for them? LaShaye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Greg, for that question. How would I create a defining moment for a child? Children are very important individuals in our lives. It doesn't matter the background where they come from. What matters is that they realize their strengths, they realize who they are, and they realize that they could soar as high as they desire to. But it's important that they understand that. As a teacher, as a parent, as a sister who has raised their younger siblings, I find myself not just reminding them of how much they have improved, but making sure that they understand how much further they can go. Children, we must embrace them with love, embrace them with kindness, no matter their situation, no matter their circumstance, no matter how much they make you angry with their silliness. It's just important. So that defining moment is making sure that they know their strengths and they know that no matter what, they could reach the highest mountain, soar like the eagle with wings as long as they believe. And it's our job to ensure that they believe. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you for saying that was a great answer, and I don't doubt at all that you are creating defining moments every day for your students. You know, sometimes we have defining moments in our life that are hard to recognize as being good in any way. I've certainly had some negative defining moments in my life, but was able to turn those around. So, Mr. Frey, has there ever been a defining moment or a negative defining moment in your life that you were able to turn it around and find the good in it? John.
Thank you, Greg. Defining moment. I would have to go back to college, and just probably the biggest thing that stands out is not passing classes and getting put on probation, and and then still not able to get it to be able to make a 2.0, and then during that process, you get suspended for a whole year. So I think going back, I think that's what is going to humble anybody, and either you're going to figure out what you're made of, and if I don't have any traits, I can't, I'm not a carpenter or any kind of skilled type person. So I think digging myself out of a hole like that and going back to community college and taking some of those remedial classes was a big help, but definitely embarrassing and eye-opening for sure to be able to go through a process like that. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but it definitely sped me up where I was able to take 9 hours in the summer and 18 hours in the fall and the spring, and graduate and then go right into grad school. And I kept going and did a couple grad programs even. So definitely failing out of school, I think would be, and not being able to go back to school for a whole year would that would top the charts for sure. I can't think of anything else, but I'll turn it back over to you, Greg. Thanks.
Thank you, John. That was a great answer. And there's certainly nothing to be embarrassed about. Your college, you accomplished your goal, you graduated, that's the main thing. And so with that, I will turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day. Oh, timers report, I'm sorry.
General evaluator.
So for our table topic speeches, our first speech by Mr. Jamil Tate was 1 minute and 9 seconds. Our second one from Madam President LaShane Goins was 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And then Mr. John Frey spoke for 1 minute and 40 seconds.
If you would send your votes for best table topics to Andre. And with that, I will turn it over to Alex, our general evaluator. Alex.
Thanks so much, Greg. And hey, really, really awesome questions for table topics. Great job being on the fly, having those great answers, guys. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my 2 evaluators that are going to evaluate our 2 awesome speeches from today. So first, we have Madam President LaShane Goins, who's going to evaluate John Abercrombie's awesome speech. LaShane, take it away.
Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and to you, John. John, how awesome was your speech? When I realized that I was evaluating you last week, I thought to myself, no, he is so good. What am I going to find? What am I going to say? But you brought it. You brought it very well. First, let me say, John, you were decked out, man. You were dressed professionally. The one thing is, I was waiting on that humor that Bernie said you were bringing. I don't know if there was much laughs going on in the audience. I was looking at the faces of those virtually. It was tough. You got us with that one. That was humor to make you go, One thing for sure is you kept my attention. You kept the attention of the audience. And you did this by one, you spoke with great passion. This came in through your vocal variety. It's wonderful to see from this point of view because I saw how you used your space well. You did not let the camera stop you from using the space, and you stayed within the view of the camera. Your gestures, they were pleasant, they were purposeful, they were eloquent. They fit your speech well. Your figurative language, the metaphors, the idioms, the allusions, they also fit your speech very well. John, I don't understand why you are not at a college campus teaching a history class with that extra expertise, the skills, and the knowledge that you have. You connect to your audience very well. One thing for sure is you're great at what you do. So here is what made me say, no, where can John grow? He is such a great speaker. Well, I guess I can talk a little bit about your eye contact. There were moments that you kept your eyes closed just for short periods. But I know it's because you are visualizing your speech. It is as though you are living in history as you are telling it. And I love every minute of it. Great job, John. And I look forward to hearing more from you. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Lachey. Excellent evaluation as always. So yes, so now without further ado, we have our second speech evaluator, none other than the distinguished Toastmaster of them all, Mr. Lee Holliday. Lee, after you, sir.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and most of all, BEREKET. Oh, I just love how your speaking is coming along, BEREKET. You are really progressing tremendously. Do you remember the first time you spoke? You have come light years in this period of time. I will share with you what I heard, saw, and felt. First, some really great things. You have good, very good vocal inflection variety. And that's not something you had to start with, but you are getting into that and just using it so very well. Perfect. It's some of the best you've done. What I saw that struck me more than anything else is that great smile you've got. Whatever you do, don't lose that smile. That is really capturing your audience. So keep doing it. And what I felt, oh, thanks for sharing the funny story. It really helped us identify with you and what you were trying to get across to us today. Some things to work on a little bit. You use the word so several times as a filler word, as something just to hold the space. Try to just not say that word. Just pause for a second and go to your next thought. Another thing that I want to recommend to you is try to make your speech flow more smoothly. It comes out in bits and pieces here and there. Try to make it flow a little more. It's going to take some effort and work. English is a second language and all that good stuff, but you can do it. I know you can. One of the things I saw though is be careful about playing with your fingers while you're talking. You're up here doing some of this. And another thing about your hands is when you weren't doing that, you were just kind of resting your hands right here. Let me get away from me so people can see what I'm saying on the camera. Just resting your hands right here. Drop your hands to the side when you don't have a gesture to make. And when you do make a gesture, it'll be even more powerful to challenge yourself. I want to challenge you to work on your closing. Two things about your closing. First, use your closing to tie to the opening of your speech, which means you've got to have a real catchy opening. And then when you come to your closing, make a reference back to that opening that sort of ties the whole speech together in one nice package. And when you're giving us that closing, give us either a call to action or use it as the punchline for the humor that you're delivering to us. BEREKET, you did a great job tonight. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Lee. That was awesome. So I believe I'm to call for a timer's report. And then after that, hand it off to the grammarian before making my report. Is that my understanding? Awesome. I see Randy come up. So, yeah.
For two evaluators, we had Madam President LaShane Goins and Mr. Lee Holliday. LaShane spoke for 3 minutes and 2 seconds, just slightly past the close mark. She almost had it right on the dot. And Mr. Lee Holliday spoke for 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. So with that in mind, I am going to hand it off to Madam Cheryl Ledford, our grammarian. Cheryl.
Thank you very much, Alex. Toastmasters, we did a great job this evening. I noticed with the prepared speeches, I did not find very few filler words. It was mostly in table topics. The one word that I learned tonight, and I just want to make sure I have the word correctly, was from John Abercrombie. Is it octoroon? That was it's 1/8, 1/8% black. That was an interesting word that I learned this evening. During table topics, I heard one like, 3 so's. I heard 11 ums, 2 buts, and 3 you knows. And until this point, I've only heard the word vigor used by Mr. Bernie Holiday. So congratulations, Bernie. But all in all, everyone has done a really great job this evening. So again, I'll turn it back over to you, Alex.
Awesome. Thanks, Cheryl. I actually used right after you had mentioned it, but that's totally fine. Which I used its root extended into vigorously or vigorous. But yeah. So with that in mind, I'll give you all my report. And I just wanted to thank you guys for such an awesome meeting. So good to be back after a long trip and to see all your faces. I wish it could have been in person, but sure enough, to summarize, we have the 3 O's for this meeting. Basically, we were on time, on the fly, and on point. So first and foremost, we started immediately, promptly at 7, which was amazing. Pledge of Allegiance, got a few of the announcements out of the way. So that's first awesome thing. Second thing is big props to our new members, Randy and Andre, for stepping up into roles very last minute. We should give them all a hand. That's definitely, you've been here a few times, just immediately stepping into it. It's like a little table topics in itself, getting up and saying what you're doing. So awesome courage with that. We appreciate that for sure. Table, and then to our speakers, I absolutely loved it. It was like shake and bake, as Ricky Bobby would say. We had something serious, And then something that was also very deep, but humorous too. I just loved how those two played off of each other. It was very informative, very thought provoking. So thank you guys for sharing. And then our table topics, Greg, phenomenal job at asking really good questions. I feel like with the folks that answered, I mean, Jamil, that was an amazing response. Like, that is the most comfortable I've ever seen you up there. So big props to you. You've come a long way in just a few times that we've seen you here. So that's great. And then to the other folks, you had awesome answers as well. Very deep stuff, which I love, people being real with people. And then really the last bit is being on point, which comes to our evaluators. You guys absolutely gave amazing feedback to these two amazing speakers, like Lashane. I mean, I love your energy. I remember when you evaluated one of my speeches a few weeks back, you took that to another level, which I didn't even think was possible. And then to Lee, just encouraging Bearcats and really showing him how far he's come. It's amazing. So yes, what an amazing meeting to come back into the circulation on. And I'm so glad that this reinforces why I joined here back in March. So I just want to thank you guys for such an awesome meeting tonight. And then I believe now I need to turn it back over to Mr. Bernie Holiday, the Toastmaster of the day. Bernie, take it away.
Thank you so much, Alex, for that wonderful, wonderful evaluation. We have done a call for votes, yes?
No, you haven't.
For all the evaluators have voted? Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I've been bouncing around over there. Well, we have certainly brought a lot of energy to tonight's meeting. I really appreciate everyone putting their best forward to bring a lot of vigor and power into tonight's meeting that we can carry it on throughout the week. We have no guests to provide any feedback. I wish that we would. And so why not invite people? We've got a space now. We've got a good following going. It's time to start inviting people to come with us some more, to come join us. So when you are discussing with your coworkers, your friends, every once in a while, maybe give Toastmasters a mention and say, well, hey, why don't you come with me for a meeting? Mr. Vote Counter, do we have results? Would you please come up here and announce the results, please, sir?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster. Well, for our best speaker, John, you gave a vigorous and bold speech, but Bearcat won the day. Good job, Bearcat. Our best evaluator goes to Mr. Lee Holiday. Best table topic goes to my wife, Mrs. Jamil Tate. Also, most improved goes to her, and most improved also goes to you, Bearcat. Great job, guys.
Thank you very much, Andre. Do we have any announcements before we close this evening? Mr. Holiday?
For our new members, first of all, we are so excited to have Jamil and Andre and Randy as new members, in addition to Charisse, right? Charisse, who could not be here tonight because she is fighting a real bad case of allergies. And we can understand how that can really, really knock you down. But I sent all of you an email today. Did you see the email I sent you? Yeah. About about getting you in on the different meeting roles going forward.
Yeah, I seen him walking in the door.
Okay, and what I need back from you is a response as to when we can schedule some weekly orientation meetings. If none of the times I presented to you work, then suggest another time. But if you can tell me what of that works best for you, or if none of those times or some of those times don't work for you, get back to me with your responses as quickly as possible. I'd like to start them later this week if I could, to get you familiar with how to use our club website and how to use the Toastmasters International website and how to fulfill all the different meeting roles you have. I know we caught Andre kind of by surprise because he really hadn't been prepped to serve in the role he did tonight. And we want to prep you for those meeting roles so that it goes smoothly for you. So get back to me and we'll meet with you. I've invited several club members to join us with us in that, who can hear what we're saying to you and reinforce that for you as we go on, and possibly become your personal mentor going forward, somebody you can reach out to ask questions you have as you continue in your Toastmasters journey. But it's very important that we get engaged early and quickly to help you get started. I did notice of our 4 new members, 1 has already gone out to the Toastmasters International website and registered in Pathways. Jamil, I am so proud of you for doing that. That's fantastic. And if we will go over that for those of you who haven't done it, and for Jamil, to talk about the importance of Pathways and how to use that to learn and grow in your Toastmasters journey. I look forward to hearing back from you just as soon as possible so we can get those meetings rolling, okay? That'll be great. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Holliday. Greg, I believe you had an announcement as well.
Thank you, Bernie. So tomorrow night is the Division G evaluation contest. Our own Bernie Holiday is competing tomorrow night, so let's all wish him the best of luck. He does a tremendous job in doing evaluations, so try to sign on tomorrow night. It starts at 7:30 for Division G. Division F starts at 6 if you want to watch them too. LaShane, I believe I sent you the Zoom link, hoping that you would send it out to all the members of the club. If anybody doesn't have the link that wants it, please let me know. You don't have the link?
I don't have a link.
I will send you the link tonight.
I appreciate it.
All right. And again, Bernie, best of luck. I know you're going to knock it out of the park tomorrow night.
Thank you, sir.
So good luck. Thanks.
Okay, do we have any other announcements? In that case, I would like to just give myself one little bit of a self pat behind the back. This is now a fully operational photography studio. That means I am fully licensed. I am ready to go. I am ready to take everyone's photos and, more importantly, take your money. So please, if you need headshots, if you need family portraits, please come to me and we can talk about exactly how to fill your needs and get that art up on the wall. Other than that, I think that we have satisfied everything we need to do tonight. So I will call this meeting adjourned.